Good day, guys. I hope we're all good. Welcome to Tuesday live chat analysis. All right, so we're going to get started off with C1. Here, I'm just extending this range we had for the past couple of days. So looking at it today, looks like we are in a sell momentum. Intraday, we've hit this top. Now, remember yesterday, I think we mentioned that we don't have anything inside here until price comes to the top or until price comes to the bottom. So we did come to the top, broke an order block here, came retested this order block within this order block as well. So it looks like we are in the sell motion. We've broken a level here, and we should see price most likely get to this bottom zone. But if we want to get into this trade now, where are the potential entries? And again, this is a range market. We are now in a range. So a potential entry, all right, so from this push or peak at the top here, you can see now the market started creating lower highs, lower lows, right? So most likely market is creating a lower low now. So what we want to sell into would be a lower high. At some point, the market has to retrace. Where are they going to retrace to? So first things first is once we start to see green candles or the price retracing up, we're going to run a fib. So let's say they start retracing from the current market price, pushing back up. Our main points of interest will actually be right here from the 38.2 area, which is on this order block here, going into the 50, the 61.8, which is also within this order block here. So these are all areas of interest or points of interest where we anticipate this price to actually retrace into before the sell continues. So I'll just leave this particular one on M15 so that we can pay attention to how price is moving, especially on this pattern, which we have noticed that it's actually happening. So going to C1000. C1000, we were expecting a drop yesterday. I'm not sure how you guys managed the trade, but on my side, it ended up taking me out at break even. So what ended up happening is, where did we enter this trade? Where did we enter? Probably we entered somewhere in here, and we're anticipating this retracement because I remember I had marked this level. So I saw this and I scaled in, and price moved, and I left the charts a bit because I was targeting this 800 EMA. So I left the charts a bit. Then when I came back, price was already here. So I decided to just collapse my trade. Of course, I was still waiting for them to actually give me something here, but as you can see, nothing happened. Nothing happened here as well. And they actually continued to create a new high of the day. And once they came above the 50, this was actually an uptrend because even on AH1, I think they were now back above the 13 EMA, as you can see. So it was now an uptrend. So that's an example maybe of a failed setup since it didn't come to our take profit zone. How am I looking at it today? For now, I've got this pattern, and it also looks like we are in some type of range. If I'm to mark this low and this high, looks like we are in a bit of a range as well here. So we've hit the top, which is our peak or the highest high of today as well. And we do have this order block right on the bottom here, which is this candle here. Let me get a straight line there. So safe sales will be below that order block there. So that's below 56.27. Those are the safest sales I feel in this particular setup. But then early sales, maybe they can come at the break of this structure. Let me just zoom in here. Okay, safe sales are below this order block. Then earlier sales can come maybe at the break of this level here because this is also like a structure and this is actually acting like this. So this is the main order block. So if we can get price come below here, then we can sell, then we can add. But at the same time, if we fail to break this red line, you see price might actually still be respecting this same order block for a continuation of the pushback up. That's also possible. So if we do break those levels, this one, I'm going to consider a sell, and I'm going to consider adding. That's my view for now on C1000. Going to M15 is more or less the same thing. And if you notice on the first zone, which we want to be broken, that's actually yesterday's high. This is yesterday's high. So I'll consider this being liquidity taken out. So we could potentially get a nice move coming back down here. So 55.70 can be a potential take profit if the sell actually happens. That's my view for C1. And going to C5 again. This one, I mentioned price, waiting for price to come up to the top of this channel, pushing up, or at least into the gray zone. So we actually did come into the gray zone. We actually broke an order block here. Okay, but if you notice now, price did not give a follow through to the downside. So maybe you might have taken this trade, let's say around here. There was nothing wrong with selling here because this was a broken zone, a retest with this close. But your stop loss again should have been outside this range. So this could have been a failed trade for those who took it a bit earlier. So let's see daily. Okay, so on the daily again, we are trading in between the 13 EMA, which is a dynamic support, and the 50 EMA on top, which is a dynamic resistance. So we are sort of, like I said, in that tiny range. So let's see what happens. I'd rather wait for price to get outside these moving averages. So we have to sort of, if we can come up above this area, then price will most likely push up maybe into these zones, right? Then if we can come back below this 13 EMA, then we can look forward for sales. So for now, I'd rather want or wait to be patient with this one. I'm going to leave it on the daily chart as well so that I just see how the price will be playing around those dynamic support and resistance areas. So for this, I've got no bias, no setup for now until price gets out of that those two zones I mentioned. B5, like we said, it's still pushing down strongly. We wait for them to get to these two black lines. So this one again, we're going to leave it on the daily. B1000. Yesterday we mentioned that we can consider buys only if the daily candle turns green or turns bullish, of which it actually happens. But when it happened again, I was not on the charts. I wasn't actually expecting it to happen. So I kind of missed out on this one. So price came above. At this point, this is where the daily candle became bullish. So where could you have taken this trade? At the break of this structure, we could have anticipated this if we were actively stalking. That's number one. Number two, I usually don't like jumping in here because sometimes you get a retracement back to the broken zone, which was this one, or you can get a retracement back to the broken order block, which is this one. So that drawdown there would be a bit big. So if you feel like price has taken off, try to wait for a retracement back to the 13 EMA on M15. If you're using moving averages, that's the best way to attempt this. Then TDI, you would have also noticed that this impulsive push up gave this confirmation that we're actually now bullish. So these candles here could have showed you that, okay, price is respecting this, or you could have used this as a higher low after this higher high. Then this would have been your zone, which you would have waited to be broken, then retested to actually enter here if you were stalking. These things, you can only see them if you are paying attention to one asset. Because if you're moving around through things, that's why, like, for example, you see it's not even marked. It wasn't marked because I also missed this one. So these setups I'm explaining or entries, they only happen if you are stalking an asset. So looking at it today, right now, again, we are below the 13 EMA. we are sort of on the line again. So again, we can only consider buys if the daily candle becomes bullish. That's the only time we can consider buys. So this 16,000 area, we keep talking about it. It's been giving us some nice setups. So if a setup happens, let's just make sure that we will be on top of it. So until this daily candle turns bullish, we do not have a setup because I feel like price could actually push down. You see to this red line we have here. That's where we could get to, or maybe to 16,000 and still give us some spikes. So we'll just wait and see what happens. Then going to step index H1, this is how we had marked this. I'm not sure what bias we had here, but I'm sure we're looking forward for either a sell or a retracement back to the 13 EMA. So what ended up happening is, oh yeah, I remember we had this fair value gap here, and we're anticipating either price to bounce off here or to bounce off here. So if you notice, they did bounce off, but they failed to come above the 13 EMA. So there was no safe buy there. You might have entered a buy maybe at the touch or maybe at this close, but again, nothing was confirmed here. Then price still continued to come back below, and that same order block now has been broken and retested to the downside. Meaning, again, if you're stoking this, you might have considered taking sells anyway in here or even right here at the close of this candle. You could have still scalped some nice pips. So that's the importance, like I mentioned yesterday, the more importance of putting your zones. You just draw it into the future. If it's an order block, you just draw it into the future. If price respects it, then you can take buys. If price breaks and retests, you can take sells. So it sort of gives you a clue of where the direction of the market is. So looking at it today, the first setup I would say has already played out. We can most likely continue coming to this level. We mentioned 79.85. So I would say I'm leaning on sells. We do have a fair value gap here. That's a possible retracement zone right there. Let's see here. Yeah, we can have this price still push up, take out the current highs of today, then actually create a fresh pattern for us to actually sell and look forward for that daily zone to be taken out. This is just a possible scenario which could happen. At the same time, price might respect the bottom zone here and just react around this area for a continuation to the downside. So I'll say those are the two points of interest which I currently see. So we've got this zone here. Again, we got a break, so we might get a retest, which is also in line with the 13 EMA. So we might get a retest and a drop, or price might extend the highs, then drop. So if we get a reaction here, then we'll look for a pattern on M15 and we sell. And if we get a reaction here, again, we'll look for a pattern. Then if price does this, then the trend could actually be changing. But I'll update you guys if I'm on the charts at that point in time. Okay, so J10, the last one, we're still trading within this range here. You can see price is sort of failing to come back above. At the same time, it's hitting this dynamic support. So again, on this one, I think I would rather wait to see if I'll get a nice close above this area for this buy trend to just continue pushing up. Otherwise, if we do come below this area, then I'll be considering sells. So for now, I think I'll rather just wait, see how this daily candle goes. So maybe I'll look forward to trading it maybe tomorrow, or unless this candle turns bearish today, then we can consider sells. But we'll check it tomorrow and see if we can get a better setup there. So I think that's it from me today. Nothing too solid except maybe C1 if we can stoke on this. And okay, C5 looks like it already moved. They did not give a retracement. So let's just see what happens. They might actually maybe retrace from here, but if they get to the bottom here, that means it will be a different setup forming. So let's look at it from the H1. Okay, you can see this order block broken. If we can retrace back, let's say we take out liquidity here from yesterday's lows, we do something like this, then we manage to retrace back into this broken order block here. We can actually look forward for that sell until price gets to this area. But if this price gets to this area straight away without the retracement, then this will be a different setup forming. But again, we'll just keep an eye and see if we can catch a better setup there. Then C1, we just stoking. C5, we are also stoking. So there's nothing with a very, very high probability for now. So we'll just see. Maybe during later in the day, I might just give updates on what will be happening. So thank you so much, guys, for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good trading.